All right, strap yourselves in because today we're diving deep into a film that really did change how we see war movies. Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, a real game changer.
You wanted to know what gives this film its power.
It's got a lot going on.
And we're going to find out using some serious film analysis, breaking down scenes and techniques.
Trust me, this film's got it all.
Okay, let's jump right in. Starting with that D-Day landing on Omaha Beach.
Oh, man.
25 minutes, bam, right into the chaos.
Right there with them.
Everyone knows it's famous for being so real, but what makes it groundbreaking? Like, from a filmmaking point of view.
So what Spielberg did that was different, he used handheld cameras for Omaha Beach.
Which is not typical for a huge war movie, right?
Not at the time, no.
So instead of those classic still shots, the camera's moving, almost shaky,
Like you're right there.
like you're in the battle.
Exactly. That's what gives you that chaos, that you're disoriented. You feel like you're landing with them.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. It's not just watching, you're experiencing it.
You're seeing it through their eyes. You feel their fear. You feel their confusion.
Spielberg doesn't shy away from the brutality either.
Yo, he doesn't.
It's raw, in your face. And he uses real amputees as extras.
Had to make it real, you know.
You mentioned those amputees. What effect did that have on the film's message?
Well, by showing what war really costs so viscerally, he kind of blew up that romantic view of combat that a lot of films had before.
It wasn't pretty.
No, he wanted to show the cost, physical, mental, the whole thing.
And that realism hit hard, not just for us watching, but for veterans too.
Oh, yeah.
Many of them said that scene, it brought back memories, it resonated deeply with what they went through.
It shows you the power of film, you know, to capture that human experience, even in something so horrific.
So we have this intense opening, then the film focuses in, it becomes a mission, find Private Ryan.
Right, the story's pretty simple, really. Squad's got to go behind enemy lines.
Retrieve a paratrooper, all his brothers are dead.
Makes you ask, is one life worth risking so many others?
And it's that simple plot that makes the emotions hit harder, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Because it's so focused, we connect with those soldiers, their struggles, how they bond under pressure.
I did notice a contrast between the chaos of Omaha Beach and the later battles, more strategic, like that final fight in Rommel.
For sure, the style changes. Instead of all handheld, shaky cameras, you get steady shots.
Yeah, the pace slows down.
You focus on the characters, the weight of their choices.
And here's where it gets good. Tom Hanks as Captain Miller. Incredible performance.
Oh, he's amazing.
Leader, but vulnerable to you. So compelling.
It's under your skin. You feel every decision he makes, the toll it takes on him.
Then you've got Matt Damon as Private Ryan, young soldier, almost innocent.
Doesn't know what's going on to bring him home.
It makes you wonder, what makes one life more worth saving?
That's the question hanging over the whole film, weighs on Miller and his men the whole way.
And while they're both fantastic, it's not just them.
Yep.
Even the supporting characters, they add so much. Each one showing a different side of war.
You see humor, cynicism, fear, desperation.
The whole spectrum.
Shows how good the writing is, the whole cast. Every character feels real, you get them, and they could die at any moment.
Which leads us to what makes this film so powerful, the moral dilemmas. What war truly costs. The mission itself.
Risking 8 to save 1.
Yeah, instantly you're thinking, what's a life worth in wartime?
It doesn't shy away from those tough questions, the film. Makes you face the reality of war where right and wrong get blurry.
No easy answers.
Nope, reminds us of that. Like when they decide to let that German soldier go.
Seems compassionate, but then...
Bad things happen.
Exactly.
Shows how unpredictable war is, how complex, morally. Blows up that good versus evil idea, shows every choice has consequences.
Ones you don't see coming.
Yeah.
You get this feeling that they're not just fighting the enemy.
They're fighting to stay human.
Yeah, in this dehumanizing situation.
Exactly. And Miller says it straight up.
Tells his men the mission is about earning what they take.
Keeping their humanity in this mess. Powerful stuff gets to the heart of it.
And it all circles back to that last scene, Miller's words, earn this.
Man.
That echoes through the whole film. About honoring the sacrifice, living a life that means something.
It sticks with you. How do we live up to that? How do we make their deaths matter?
Spielberg's dedication to getting it right is obvious. Using real landing craft, talking to military experts.
Shows how much he cared about showing it realistically.
Makes it immersive. You
Yeah.
feel like you're there. And that makes the emotions hit harder.
For sure.
I read he didn't even use storyboards for Omaha Beach.
Wow.
Wanted it to feel natural, not staged. Big choice for a scene that huge.
Paid off though, didn't it?
Absolutely. Feels raw, like a documentary. You're pulled right in. You're not just watching, you're there with them.
Right there in the chaos.
And Saving Private Ryan's impact on culture is huge. People got interested in World War II again, inspired other films and shows,
Band of Brothers, yeah.
even changed how they teach military history.
Raised the bar for war films. Now they got to be more real, more emotional. And it got people talking about war, sacrifice, what it means to be human in those situations.
What about the music?
Yeah.
John Williams, but it's not his usual style.
It's different, isn't it?
Way more restrained, but it works. How does it add to the film's impact?
You see, John Williams, he's known for these big, epic scores. But here, he does something else. Instead of bombastic, it's subdued. Emphasizes the emotion, like a whisper, not a shout.
Yeah, I get it. The music breathes with the film, lets the scenes, the characters' feelings take center stage.
That's it. There's this one scene, Captain Miller, he's looking at all the destruction, and the sound completely cuts out.
Silence.
Yeah, powerful silence. Emphasizes the shock of combat.
Brilliant use of sound. Shows how the film can make you feel things in subtle ways.
Powerful ways. It really shows how the film creates these visceral moments, almost poetic.
It does. And you know, one thing we haven't really touched on is leadership, how the film explores that. Captain Miller, he's not just some fearless commander. He doubts himself. He feels the responsibility, those moral dilemmas war throws at you.
It's interesting. Miller shows a different kind of hero. Not the invincible guy you see in most war movies.
Right.
He's a man trying to do right, but in situations where that's almost impossible.
He's human. That's what makes him so interesting. He questions, he makes mistakes, he struggles with the weight of his choices, like sparing that German soldier,
Oh, yeah.
even though his men could be at risk. He even says he doesn't know if it's the right call.
That scene, him saying that, it gets to the core of how messy war is, ethically. No clear good guys and bad guys. Every choice has consequences.
And those consequences, they hit in the final battle too.
Mm.
Miller knows they're outnumbered, they might not make it.
Yeah.
But he fights, holds that bridge, because he believes it's the right thing to do.
And that's where the film's take on leadership gets really fascinating. It's not just giving orders. It's inspiring people to act, even when it seems hopeless.
Leading by example, making the tough calls, even being willing to sacrifice yourself for something bigger. And that's what Miller does.
His death, it's a turning point in the film, reminds you what war costs, the sacrifices, what it does to those left behind.
But even in that loss, there's hope, a sense of purpose. His last words, "Earn this," become this powerful message for Ryan, for all of us watching.
Powerful stuff. It's about legacy. How do we honor those who came before? How do we make sure they didn't die for nothing?
And we're back to that opening scene, the cemetery. Old Ryan among all those graves. You feel the weight of history, what was done to save him.
It's like a full circle, brings the film's emotional punch home. Reminds us that war, its effects, they echo through generations.
That burden of memory, of honoring them, it stays.
Yeah.
Shows how important it is to remember not just those who served, but those who died serving. To learn from the past. Work for a future where those sacrifices mean something.
It makes you think how these themes in the film, they hit even harder today. We've got different conflicts, different challenges. But the questions about the value of life, is war ever right? What leaders are responsible for?
So there.
Just as relevant now.
The film might not have easy answers, but it makes you face those questions. See how they apply to our own lives.
It makes you think, makes you feel for those who serve, pushes us to work for a better world, a peaceful world.
Shifting gears a bit, technically, the way Spielberg uses sound and silence is brilliant. Creates tension, highlights the emotions of a scene. Costumes, sets, weapons, all the details.
It all feels real.
It pulls you in.
You can tell there was so much research they wanted it to be authentic. And you feel that. You're transported to that time, that place, and that just makes everything more powerful.
We talked about Omaha Beach, but them using actual landing craft adds so much.
Yeah.
And the sound design again. When Miller sees the aftermath and it goes silent.
Masterful.
Those moments of silence, they hit hard because they're so different from the noise, the chaos of battle. Makes you confront what you're seeing, feel it.
You really absorb it.
And speaking of impact, can't forget what Saving Private Ryan did culturally. People got back into World War II history. We got a wave of new war films, TV shows, even video games.
It sparks something.
It's like this cultural touchstone, how we talk about war, about sacrifice, about what humans go through under pressure. And its influence is everywhere, not just entertainment, but memorials, how we remember. It's part of how we understand World War II now. a shared experience that still speaks to people. What stands out to you about its lasting impact?
I think it's how universal it is. It's a specific time, a specific war, but the themes, duty, sacrifice, brotherhood, staying human when everything's pushing you the other way,
Those are timeless.
they go beyond any one place or time.
It's about being human, the challenges we all face, the choices we make, especially when things are tough. And those themes resonate just as strongly today.
It's amazing how it speaks to different generations, maybe because we're still in a world with so much conflict, so much violence. Saving Private Ryan reminds us what war costs, what's sacrificed. It reminds us to work for peace.
It really makes you think about those big questions.
Mm.
What are we willing to fight for? What sacrifices are we willing to make? And how do we really honor the people who gave everything?
It gets the conversation going, that's for sure. It might not give you easy answers, but it makes you think about these hard issues, see things from different sides.
And that's what makes it stick with you. It's not just a movie, it's something you keep thinking about. Makes you want to be more thoughtful, more understanding, live a life that matters.
One thing people don't always talk about is how it changes what a hero is. It's not like those classic invincible war heroes you see in Hollywood.
Yeah, these guys aren't superhuman.
They're flawed, they're scared sometimes, they mess up, just like us.
They're normal people thrown into this crazy situation just trying to make it out alive.
And that's what makes you connect with them. They're human.
You get it. And it's through those struggles, the doubts, the moments of fear and bravery that you see what real heroism is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about big flashy stuff. It's about the small things, kindness, compassion, putting yourself on the line for someone else.
Like when Captain Miller helps that soldier on the beach who's dying, even though it's dangerous for him. Or Wade, the medic, risking his life to save Miller. Those are the things that speak volumes.
Those moments are powerful. They show that even in chaos and violence, there's still room for heroism.
And sometimes it's just about holding on, finding the strength to keep going when it seems like there's no hope left.
Like Private Ryan. When he finds out about his brothers, he's crushed. But then he finds a way to fight alongside the men who risked their lives to bring him home.
Shows how strong people can be, how we can find purpose even in the darkest times.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Saving Private Ryan, what are the big things our listeners should take away? Why should they care about a film that came out over 25 years ago?
It's more than just a war film. It's a story that lasts, about what it means to be human, how complicated war is, the sacrifices we make for each other. It makes you think, makes you try to understand others, makes you want to live a life that means something.
It asks us to think about what's really important. Duty, honor, what freedom costs. Those things matter just as much today as they did back then.
Here's something to think about. The film shows us individual lives versus the sacrifice of a whole group. Think about how that applies to what we face today. How do we balance what one person needs with what many people need? What are we willing to give up for the greater good? These aren't easy questions, but they're worth asking.
And if you haven't seen Saving Private Ryan, or if it's been a while, watch it again. Think about what we talked about. It's a film everyone should see, talk about, remember. It's that powerful.